Okay, so far. Okay. Just wondering. You got multiple things going on, it looks like.
Good morning. Just you wrote my last week on people.
Unless you went to the other room and had the... We did. First, I went there. It hurts the guy. Just flip it out from somebody else.
What card do they want? Last one. Any card?
Visa, MasterCard, or it's Discover.
Alright, you guys are taking credit card now?
Yep, we do. As long as it works.
I made mine.
Oh, yeah.
That's like you're the card personal.
You're welcome. If you don't have a slip around your name, just switch it with somebody else at the moment.
Let's grab one.
Kristen, this is all I can find, but we don't have connectors.
Okay, what should we do?
I have no idea. How long is this for? What's the long? Which one do I keep here?
There you go.
Your piece of plastic. Stick it in.
Okay, just swap it out with somebody else's plastic for the moment.
Far away when how much is it?
50?
Oh, we do have more. Are the rules
These
in
are
here?
the minutes. These are just the ones that Alice brought. Everything else I'll pass out at the tables as soon as everybody sits
You
down.
will. So we have those rules.
Oh yeah, we have rules, everything. I just don't want to get them lost before. No, they're different.
Thank you. District 10. District. Oh, there it is.
I know, I was like, what the hell? I don't have an iPhone, I know.
My credit card's for my credit.
Now,
Well, yeah, you're right. Some of them don't have to make no official letter.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing good.
What's your name?
Daniel Palmer?
Daniel.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, you're not going to be recording today, are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, then you need to leave.
Unfortunately,
this is our church.
we are leasing the church as lessees of the last Republican
Daniel,
Party.
we're not going through this again. Okay, I'll either call the police.
Go ahead
or
and
you'll
call
shut
the
it
police
off,
then.
Okay, shut that thing off or go out.
Sorry.
You're not going to stay here, Daniel.
I'm going to stay here because I'm a bonus vote. I just paid.
Daniel, why do you have to be so obnoxious?
I'm not being obnoxious. I'm bringing openness to the party.
I don't want you recording here on our property. Okay, you do not have our permission.
I don't need your permission because we
They
are the
have rented the
lessees.
room. They did not rent the room to record.
I am also renting the room. I just paid. As a member, a voting member of the Republican Party.
No.
Guess what? I have the same
You
rights
paid your
as the
fee
rest.
to get in and for your lunch. You didn't pay to record. Daniel, don't give me that bull.
Then call the police.
Okay. Get the police here and get him out of here.
I have my other camera right. Okay, I think I might just do that.
Here's your credit card receipt. We're not receiving your money today. We'll see you later.
I'm a voting member.
Thank you.
I'm
Bye-bye.
a voting member.
And as a voting member, you're supposed to abide by our rules, okay? And our rules say you can't record. So out.
This is
Out.
open to all Republican
Out.
members
Out.
also.
I'm not handling this today. Go.
As I said, call the police. We'll
Go.
discuss
You just
this
did.
with them at...
They'll be right here.
Okay.
We refunded your money. You're not here. You're out. Okay?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Yo, how'd the last meeting go?
Huh?
How'd the last meeting go? The SEC meeting.
We didn't have one in November. Yeah,
Oh,
we
it didn't
canceled
have?
it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, the last one was October,
Okay.
and I didn't attend that one.
Yeah. They're calling. I'm waiting for the police to show up.
Hey, go in the lobby and wait.
I'm
You go in
waiting.
the lobby and wait. If the police say you can stay, then you can stay. You're not paying your fee. We're not accepting it. You're out. Let's go. Come on. Get your stuff. Let's go.
So we're not accepting the fee.
No, because he refuses to turn his camera on. So let's go. Come on. Get your
First
stuff.
Amendment right, freedom of press.
Don't give me that.
Not to mention
This is private property.
it's being leased by the Republican Party,
Exactly. For
and
the
I'm
room.
part of the
For
Republican
room, not to
Party.
record, okay? Let's go. Come on.
I'm staying right here. And if you touch my stuff, that'll be a big no-no. This is going to be interesting. They're trying to throw me out because I won't turn off my cameras. So, exercise my right underneath the First Amendment, well, Alaska wiretapping law, First Amendment rights, and also as a member of the Republican Party. So, it'd be interesting. He's trying to throw me out. I've said, hey, call the police, have them come here. We'll have them sort of mediate the situation.
Okay, and what's he doing?
He's trying to get me to literally leave the room. I'm sitting here. No,
He
I'm
doesn't want to do that. He wants you to just volunteer and leave.
Yeah, so I'm holding my ground. Yeah, they don't like the cameras for some reason. It's just like, hey, yo, this is open to all recording. Yeah.
All right. See the drama unfold then.
Oh yeah, I said I got cameras galore, so. We'll see if I get arrested for trespassing today or not. Oh yeah, well, it was one I was expecting already. Yeah. It's like, it's funny how they shut down the Fairbanks one because I wouldn't turn it off, and it's like, hey, I'm well within my legal rights. I stated them. I got them printed off right here too. So.
There are some of you in the room who plan to record, and you know this is private property, and the Republican Party has rented this room, they've rented these tables, and they've asked us to provide a lunch, okay? There's been no release for anybody to record in here, so if you're planning to record, we're going to be asking you to leave, all right? And if you don't leave, we've called the police, and we'll have you escorted out of here. Thank you.
I'm gonna go sit up and go. Let's see here. Let's see. Enough power.
figure out how to get united with this, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, that one. Here, we're not. So, we're doing it around here. We don't do it around here. We're going to lose it in the next one.
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Waiting for the cops to show up. So.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah. Oh. And then threw back payment. Oh, you're not gonna. You're not paying for this. It's like you're only paying for beverages. And I'm just like, huh? We're paying for the room.
Well, it's nothing if not interesting to have you in here. You know, bad things don't like to see the light of day, so hang right in there, Daniel.
Oh, yeah. They threw it back at me, saying they wouldn't take it. Waiting for the police to show up. Until then, I'm still a voting body. Got my GoPro here, charging up. And I'm almost ready to U Street when the police do show up. I guess in the meantime, I'll get the tripod set up at least. Usually when you're pretty well set up, that's when something happens. The cops are going to show up.
What is that, a treadmill? Okay. Let me get your attention. I'm not going to call the meeting to order. I'm going to recognize a guest and let him speak while we finish the last few details. We're honored this morning to have with us the Lieutenant Governor of Alaska. Very well.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas. I just wanted to be here this morning for a couple of reasons. First off, certified election results. I get to go down to Juneau this week and sign a lot of certificates. Some of you are in the room. One of them is a senator we're going to be looking up to for a long time, I hope. Mr. Meyer, congratulations again on your re-election and others. I was in Fairbanks last week, and there's a book called How the Irish Saved Civilization. I said I called this election How Fairbanks Saved Alaska. But we've had a great election where we had a number of swing Senate seats, and I'm very, very happy with the change in the leadership of the Senate. I met with Charlie Huggins yesterday. The two of us were with the Energy Council down in New Orleans. Good meeting. And I just wanted to leave a couple of impressions on the election that I think are important. Number one is we watch the races very, very closely. As a lieutenant governor, I'm a member of a caucus of lieutenant governors. It's a part of the Republican State Leadership Committee, which tried as much as it could to help in this election process. And it did a bunch of polling. And one of the things we found, especially in these tight districts, is the question on oil taxes. Came up again and again, and the public perception is how much you're giving away on the table. And I think the point I wanted to make as we go into this legislative session is this is not a giveaway. What we're trying to do is increase production and make Alaska productive again for the next generation. And the challenge before us is to fill a pipeline that is declining rapidly. The core part of jobs going away, the challenge of access in Washington, which we have to fight harder and harder, and the challenge of attracting billions and billions of dollars worth of investment into Alaska here at home. And so as you talk around the state to the people, we've got a lot of hearts and minds to win on this issue, but the point is that we have to be the party that is pushing for production. If you put take first, if you put what the government is taking from people first, production's not going to come. And project by project, whether it's what's going on in Umiat, or what's going on, what we'd like to see going on with Hemlock, what we'd like to see going on with the OCS, or what we'd like to see going on with Point Thompson, or what we'd like to see going on at NPRA. All of these projects are going to help build a pipeline, and it's very, very important that we work together project by project to be competitive around the state. And one other thing I've learned is that the federal government needs help. Not the fiscal cliff only, which is huge, but it's also just helping them understand that Alaska has to be productive. America's on the verge of being a net energy exporter. And that's very, very exciting, and Alaska can help make that happen. And if that does happen, it's going to help make the country a lot stronger. Right now, there are 10 different interagency groups in the White House working on Arctic issues. I was invited into one meeting, and the first unique thing was that they had us meet in a ceremonial room where there was only a 48-star flag. And I said, oh, that's not a good sign. a historic room, but not a good sign. And the second thing is they wanted us to engage with them on some more planning exercises. And I said, the guys, the last planning exercise we did was NPRA, and it took half the land off the table. Alaska's not really interested in more planning exercises. We're interested in more production exercises. And we have to be very, very aggressive on that. With what's going on with the military here, we've got to be very, very careful that people understand our defensive position and our competitive position. And with the fiscal cliff, we have to ourselves look very, very hard to make sure that we can help in any way we can. And I think the best way we can help is to help increase federal revenues by increasing production in Alaska. So those are some of the things that we're working on right now. I just wanted to report on that. We had a good election. Randy, you put out some good numbers on turnout. We got very close to 60%, and I think your point is we didn't make our high water mark of 66% or so, but
But the reason we didn't have a Senate race.
That's right. One thing I will say that's very interesting, if you look at the statistics quite closely, in most of the districts where early voting occurred in large numbers, the Democrats outpolled the Republicans, or their percentage was up by 10 to 15% in early voting in many of the districts around the state. And I don't know what that's all about, but I would put that before the Central.
It's called the Union Bus.
And I would just put that before the Central Committee as something to be aware of. At any rate, that's what's going on there, and any suggestions you have on the elections. The last thing I wanted to say is that Fairbanks last week I announced I was going to form an exploratory committee to see if I should seek the party's nomination for the U.S. Senate in 2014. I just wanted to say this is not any kind of self-anointment. We have a lot of great talent in the state, but I also recognize that the challenge of replacing Mark Begich is one that has to begin now, has to begin heavy, it has to begin raising money around the state and around the country, it has to begin doing solid opposition research, and it has to begin with listening to Alaskans. So I plan to spend a lot of time on that in the next few months. I understand some others may as well. The one thing I have learned is that I believe his strategy to get himself reelected is to follow the model that Senator Tester used in Montana. And what happened in Montana is that the Republican Party split. The Democrats raised a lot of money, put a lot of money into a third-party libertarian race. And Danny Renberg, who came up here and fundraised, and others did not win. And so, as I go about this, and as others go about this, I hope we do all we can to keep this party together. We're going to listen to Alaskans to be ready to help. So with all that, I just wanted to say thank you. Honored to be here today, and have a great meeting.
I believe I have. First of all, I want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for his elections operation. Those folks do a darn good job. Every now and then, you need to go live with them for a while to watch. When you're going through the validation of absentee and question ballots, when you help us with, you get to see the incredible level of professionalism, the fact that they do many things in a very incredibly organized, orderly manner. They have several check steps in their process, and if you can find something wrong, you kind of feel real good about it because it's very, very unlikely. And we had a peaceful process. In 2008, one of our monitors, one of the Democrat monitors, we didn't have anything that exciting happen this time. So, we truly, one of our people came to the Democrat. She's now working for the Democrat and she's found her home. Now, at this time, I'd like to shift gears a little bit and talk about the future election. I know you think, yeah, we're making about the future election. We have an election coming up in Anchorage in less than 150 days. Less than 100. 20 minutes accident. And one of the folks who is running is one of our former members, Andy Clary. Andy, come on up. Andy's running for board.
Thank you. Like Randy said, it wasn't too much long ago that I was chair of District 27 over here. And our number is 24.
Yeah, 30 now. 24. Was 30 now 24.
But like Randy said, I am running. We do have another election coming up next April 2nd. I'm running for an assembly in Midtown. Campaign's just getting started. I had my first event this past Tuesday night. Some of you were there. And yeah, it's going really great. And I'm happy to do it again. I did run 3 years ago and came very close as a first-time candidate with zero name ID, defeating a 10-year incumbent. So, and there's even a bit of a chance that
also,
you may
you have security cameras here,
but I am ready to do
also,
this.
as a member of the Republican Party that has donated over $1,000.
Campaign always needs good support behind it. So, if you see me, I have donation envelopes, and if there's any way that you could just spread the word among your districts, especially the Anchorage districts that are here represented, would be really appreciative of that. And hope you guys
Also, as a member of the, hey, if you touch my equipment again, I will prosecute you for assault.
How close did you come last time?
174 votes.
That was the first time with limited name ID on a map. No one knew for sure who was voting where because you had how many split precincts? 8?
Something along those lines. Yeah, 6 or 8 splits.
Anchorage had all kinds of split precincts. Hopefully when we get through with this mess, we get to a new map. It will work better. Now, coming from the northeast of Anchorage, we have a new candidate running for a retiring Republican seat. Ms. Oceander, who was on the school board for a long time, then went to the assembly, is term limited, and Amy Nebraska. Amy.
Thank you for having me. You'll have to forgive me if your voice shakes. I'm new, so I'm a little tiny bit nervous, but usually I get over that in the first 30 seconds and then you can test. I am from Chuyactico River, running for Debbie Oceander's seat. She's turned out. A little bit about myself. My background is then mostly in the healthcare sector where I built and managed businesses. I left that a couple of years ago because I decided I really wanted to get involved. I watched the assembly meetings on TV and I just decided, we need a common sense perspective. We need somebody in there who really talks about fiscal accountability, and people say that. But when I started talking to my constituents about it, they said, what does that mean? It's very simple. You don't spend more than you have. And when you put it in terms like that, people relate. People connect. They say, you know what? That's how I manage my budget. And for me, I have an MBA in finance. That's nice. But I still, when I go to balance my checkbook, I know what my bottom line is. And that's how government has to be run. So for me, I got involved. I served with Andy and Joe Riggs on the Budget Advisory Commission. I'm the chair this year. And I serve as the mayor's appointment to the Parks and Rec Board in Eagle River. I'm my community council president. So when I say I'm involved in my community, I mean it. I grew up in Chuyactico River. I've been a Republican since I was 18. I'm 36 now. That's 18 years. And for me, I see what's happening in the Republican Party. And I say we're all the same. We are all conservatives. It's just how do we unify behind a voice? And for me on the Assembly, I think I can do that. I've been working with the administration. I've been working with a number of the conservative members on the Assembly. And I think it's time to get a real conservative on that board. And I think this next term is going to be crucial. The reason I say that is because we all know the new contracts are coming up. But it's more about fiscal accountability and building a fiscal future. So it's not just voting yes or no on a contract. We have to make fundamental changes to make sure our fiscal house is in order. And when I say, what is the role of government? To me, it's very foundational. It's very simple. Public safety, education, and infrastructure. But we cannot do those three things if our fiscal house isn't in order. And it's time we have a strong fiscal conservative that pushes that message forward and that can relate to people. In my race right now, I'm the only Republican in the race. There is another candidate. He's undeclared, and he's running next. He has his campaign kicked off next week, and half of his sponsors are Democrats. So the thing we have to remember in an assembly race is there's not an R or D on the ballot. So we have to try really hard to differentiate ourselves from people who are saying they're conservative, but when we look a little deeper, we see who's backing them. And we cannot have the assembly fall into liberal hands. The financial impact is too great. We saw that 5 years ago. So for you, everybody in Anchorage, Eagle River, even across the state, if you can help spread the message and really help us show who the real conservative is in this race, I would be very grateful. But for me, regardless, whether I win, lose, or draw, I'm not going to stop because I think the message resonates with people, and I think people are excited to hear a conservative candidate come out and say, you know what, I'm not ashamed to be conservative. We have to have responsibility and accountability. And so those are the things I'm looking forward to working on. If I'm going to hang around here for a while, if anybody wants to talk to me, I'd love to talk to you. And as I get through this process, I'm sure I'll learn to slow down a little. I'm sure I'll learn to, I'll get better at my message. But this is my first chance, so I hope you forgive me for my nerves. But it was fun, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. One other thing I want to add to the cause.
Is there if I get your name and badge number real quick?
Officer Noah, 29910. Can we step outside and we'll talk?
Am I being detained?
They don't want you here. So they're asking me to ask you to leave. So I'm going to ask you to leave. And if you don't leave, then I might have to pursue arresting you for trespassing. But right now they're asking you to leave.
Well,
the whole thing was they didn't want to videotape. There's something about some rules about videotape.
Here's the thing. They have CCTV that's recording all of this. Also, I'm a member of the Republican Party who is a voting member. And as a voting member, I'm supposed to be here. This meeting is supposed to be open to all registered Republican Party members. And the thing is so since we all pay for this with our donations and all that stuff.
Right. The chairman has asked you to leave.
The chairman?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I am relating that to you, and he's asked you to leave.
Okay.
So that's why I am asking you to leave. Their issues are with the filming and all that. I don't have an issue with the filming. Mm-hmm. No. It's just when they call the police and say that you're not welcome here and want you to leave, then I come to ask you to leave.
Yeah, well, the thing is I'm a member of this group, and the thing is I'm supposed to be part of this group. Now, they technically can't ask me to leave because I'm part of it. I'm a voting member of the body. And so, and underneath the last wiretapping law, which I have the paperwork here for, it says I'm legally allowed to record.
Right, and I told you, I am not getting into the recording. Okay, I mean, you can, your explanation on it, that is not why I'm here, and not my issue.
What's up, Liz Vasquez? Hi, nice to meet you. So what's the basis of the complaint? I'm an attorney. So what's the basis of the complaint? And I was a prosecutor for years. So.
They've asked him to leave.
Okay, he's a member of the Central Committee, and there's procedures.
Talking on over there, figuring that out. Yeah. Can we just talk in the hallway so we don't disturb what's going on here? You can leave that here for all that matters to me. Hold on, we'll talk out here.
I'm going to just leave this here. They're doing roll calls, and they're probably trying to say I'm
Because if you're going to try to talk to me about this, I have no idea.
Lance Roberts.
Yeah.
Bridget Steele. Jennifer Cross.
Here.
Edna DeVries. Here. Tim Dietz. Chris McMullins.
Here.
Lisa Santieri. Here. Kevin Kastner, Kyle Easterly, Mike Paulson, David Morgan, Kurt Wickersham.
Pay him by proxy. You got it, Dave.
Randy Stevens. Gloria Schreiber.
Here by proxy.
I need your proxy if that's possible.
I think it's actually y'all. I've got 3. There's actually 1 in the office.
So what's your name, sir?
Rick Devin.
There's CCTV record.
Steve Strait.
Here.
William Spearman.
Got his proxy. Edgar Michael.
Thanks.
You don't need a proxy, you're the vice chair, right? And you're just here. I'm here. Proxy doesn't count.
Bruce Schulte.
I'm here.
Jason Pretzel.
Here.
Joe Driggs.
Present.
Rick Whitbeck.
Here.
Jeremiah Stevens.
Here.
Peter Goldberg.
Here.
Richard Giesel.
Here.
Mike Terriana. Neil DePuron. Richard Hawkins.
Here.
Connie McKenzie.
Proxy, all that.
Kathy Hosford. Thank you. Bill Privet. Robert Venables. Gail Brand. Richard Sherman. Thank you. Christopher Burns. Paul Verhagen. Phone. Thank you. Don Handlin. Tyrone Barr.
Chrissy, is Don on the phone?
No.
Don Hamlin?
Paulette Simpson. Here. Chuck Wagers.
That's now Becca Zerks. Oh, been replaced.
Becca.
I'm here, yes.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Aaron Downing. Peter Giesel.
Here.
Captain Burton, excuse me.
Here.
Kevin Clarkson.
Here.
Tom Wright.
Proxy standard.
That's one of the 2 proxies that I killed in fax machine operations. I didn't know whose they were for sure, but my deduction process is going. I'm confident now that I know the 2 that I hit delete when I was in the process of adding people.
And what's your name? Sandra, what's your last name? Gorley. Can you spell that for me, please? Thank you, Nick. Tom McKay. Mike Prax.
He's here. He's already identified himself once.
Bud Fate.
Becca Zerks, proxy.
That's the other proxy.
Cheryl Markwood.
Here.
Don Hayes. He submitted a proxy.
I have some proxy.
Great, thank you. Roy Burkhart. Thank you.
On the phone.
Thank you. And I have a really hard time. Larry DeVilbus.
Here.
Thank you. David McGraw.
Here.
Daniel Palmer.
Here.
Rex Shattuck.
Here.
Karen Perry.
She was given a proxy holder about that.
Timothy Worthen.
That's Frank.
Alex Jamar. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Close enough. That's what I tell everybody about mine. Lynette Largent. Here. David Donnelly.
Here.
Mary Ann Pruitt. Here. Jason Rampton.
Here.
Austin McDaniel.
Here.
Tugman Babcock. George Martin. Deborah Brown.
Here by proxy.
Stephanie Madsen. Linda Adams. George Wright. Frank Johnson. Lance Pruitt. Kevin Meyer.
Here.
Charlie Huggins.
Mike Johnson, he's here for me. Mike was here. There he is.
And Sean Parnell.
Proxy, Nancy Dalton.
Bede Treadwell. Don Young. Thank you. Lisa Murkowski.
Proxy.
Thank you. Rhonda Boyle. Here. Ben Moore.
Casey, you got a proxy?
Yeah.
Pam Rager. Present. And Ryan Fitzpatrick. We definitely have a quorum.
Question?
Russ Millette has a point of information.
Yes. Understand that?
Thank you.
Yes.
I don't believe my name was called. I'm a volunteer for the security.
Your name was called, I believe. Do you have Debbie Brown, District 30?
Yes, I called you and I had you marked as proxy.
Yes, Richard Dick Hawkins. I'll have to my phone.
Yep, I spoke with him and I verified your proxy. Thank you.
Okay. Any other points of information on the phone? Thank you. The Secretary informs me we have a quorum, and I would like to call on the Rules Chair at this time, before we proceed, to make a motion, to renew a motion we made with them.
If you will recall,
We need Mike.
if you recall,
So they put it into the
If you will recall, our meeting with Fairfax was kept short because of we passed a motion at that time to the effect that no recording would be made other than the official recording, and anybody attempting to record and stream on a moment-by-moment basis the activities of the party would be convicted. Since our mascot on Wall Street seems to be back, and wanting to once again record everything that we're doing, I would ask to renew that motion that no recordings be made other than the official recording, which is being done by our secretary and which is available to any member of the Republican Party for review, and from which she publishes official minutes. And that it should be the only record. And I would ask at this time that we renew that motion.
Is there a second?
The second, District 19, Steve Strait.
I move to amend. Non-debatable, non-amendable. The motion. We're amending a motion.
Why do you believe you have the right to amend?
You made a motion, you seconded, and now making a motion to amend.
Okay.
I would amend that we would allow audio recordings.
Mr. Chair, Glenn Clary, Treasurer. You know, if we allow audio recordings, the things that we discuss in here are private to this body right here. We should go into executive session if this fails. But if this stuff, when we talk about strategy and winning races and what we're going to do in the municipality and how we did our planning for taking over the state Senate and House, we discuss our finances, where we're at. That gets into the wrong hands, gets on YouTube or what have you. It could be very, very detrimental to the Republican Party, and I would vote no on this.
The parliamentarian has advised me that I should have properly allowed the maker of the motion and the second to speak before allowing an amendment. So I will go back to that and come back to the amendments. Frank?
As I said, this is simply redoing something that has already been passed and is in effect. An attempt to reinforce and underline our ability at this time to evict anybody who's making other than the official recording of the meeting. I think Mr. Clary already summarized a few of the many, many reasons why this is appropriate. I would reiterate again that this is a private organization. It is a political organization. Our right to conduct our business in private has been validated in the courts all the way to the Supreme Court. Political parties, not just Republicans, Democrats, and all others, do have the right and the ability to conduct their business in private. Did you wish to speak to your second?
I believe last time we made a provision for recording for administrative purposes only. For the use of the secretary.
And the chairman wants to turn the gavel over to you, Mr. Culligan.
Would you recommend me to speak?
Mr. Ruder.
The RNC, our parent organization, has meetings and phone calls and other activities that are members only. No one records. I think the issue here is a matter well beyond the intent of helping the organization. On an RNC phone call, you will have your unique password to participate. There are members meetings, members only meetings at each RNC meeting, or even senior staff from the state parties is not allowed to attend. Spouses are not allowed to attend. Former members are not allowed to attend. So, I think we have a misguided notion here of opportunities to damage being interwoven with the alleged rights to know. If we remember, the state Republican House and Senate caucuses are closed. And the only people who talk about wanting to make sure that they are open are the Democrats. Thank you.
Point of order, Roy Burkhart on the telephone. From who again?
Roy Burkhart.
You're not recognized, sir. Thank you. You recognize now?
Mr. Burkhart, please go ahead.
I was at the meeting in Fairbanks when this resolution was passed. Now, to the best of my recollection, it was not specific to that meeting. It was a resolution to say that only the secretary would report. Now, if that's so, then this is a new point. I don't think we have to do this every meeting. The resolution was passed, and if people think it was illegal, it wasn't right, there's a procedure you could go through to get it corrected. But this is the place to do it.
Thank you, Roy. Ms. Jocelyn.
This isn't speaking. I just want to clarify what Randy was saying.
But you cannot hear, you cannot be heard. Or talk to Colin. He's got the mic here.
Okay, just to clarify what Randy said, it's true, we do have members-only meetings at the RNC, but I also want to point out, we have other meetings that are sessions, open sessions that the press even comes to. So it's not, I just want to make sure we have a clear picture of this. Not every meeting of the RNC is secretive and closed. Some of them are open to the press, and they're welcome to come, and they do. And there are others that are so closed, I brought my 9-year-old, and she got kicked out. So nobody knows about it.
Having said that, I would, since this motion has been passed, as Mr. Burkhart points out, we will just stay with his proper recollection that this matter is closed. Thank you. Steve, would you run the meeting? I won't talk to the cops.
Mr. Chairman?
Hold on one moment. On the phone. Point of order called on the phone. Go ahead.
Yes. Is the person who's recording a Republican who's paid to be in the meeting, or is the person who's recording a part of the media or a Democrat?
The person that's the center of the immediate discussion is Daniel Palmer, who did register prior to the convention as a Republican, however, self-advertised as a member of Occupy Wall Street, streams the data onto the internet under the handle of Occupy the North. It's fairly obvious that his purpose here is anything other than promoting Republican platforms, candidates, and policies.
I wish to speak in my defense.
I will recognize Mr. Palmer for his comments. Then we will move on into the
I am a registered Republican. I am also voted in bonus vote by my district. So I am here legally. I'm supposed to be a voting member of this body, helping represent my district along with my chairman, supporting him in his votes. I am here recording, so this way my district knows exactly what happened. If they come and ask me what happened, because I'm here representing them along with my chairman. Now, if you have a problem with me recording, guess what? Legal law, Alaska wiretap law allows me to legally record any conversation I am a part of. So, guess what? Alaska law trumps the party rules in this point. If you want to have these closed secret meetings, you know what? Go and have those closed secret meetings. You can go ahead and have those closed meetings over there or somewhere else. Guess what? This is SCC meeting open to all registered Republicans who can see this.
All right, well, thank you very much. clearly stated that you are a member of this body, but there's a big difference between live streaming and recording and taking information back to your constituents. You clearly distributed that, and we have made a ruling to that effect. So, Mr. Roberts, real quick, and then we'll continue.
I would like to make a motion to allow voice recordings in our meeting, not streaming, voice recordings.
I think that ruling has already been made previously. We allowed recording for secretarial purposes only.
Right, so this is a motion, a new motion I'm making. If I get a second, I'll speak.
I second that.
And I'm going to turn it's not speaking to the motion. I'm going to, Mr. Rivers is back in the room. We'll turn it over to him and hopefully proceed with the invocation.
Got this one right over there.
If anyone is to record, it will be the secretary.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second.
Out of order.
New business.
Not until later in the agenda. This clearly identified new business and nothing else.
This is the exact time frame that they
For 37 years, was very well compensated for my advice, and my clients generally like it. There's a difference between something being used an exception from criminal statute and being a right. And that's something I think we want to think about. And the other thing is,
Our parliamentarian advisors mean that we passed a rule of this organization at the September meeting, so that's no longer on the floor. I'm going to ask Mr. Collier to speak to your motion, and then we will vote on it.
I'd like to speak in opposition to this. Covered this
Well,
many times.
the problem is they've been trying to run with me for the past couple months. And since they've been extremely aggressive, I'm going to hold my
so you're coming from a legal perspective. There's actually been some citizen from a legal perspective.
Please come forward to speak to the microphone.
From that perspective is what you just said.
Seconded by Bill Weatherly from District 36.
So I think, first off, to address the point that you just made, this is not a member meeting. This is a Republican meeting.
Yeah, I
guess if you're saying members of the entire Republican Party, it is open to all Republicans. This is not a closed meeting like the RNC has, or like the Senate caucus has, which are justifiably closed. So I want to make that point. Second, what we should be seeking in our party is to better our reputation. Anyone who's been through this last election, has been fighting it like we have, knows that we have a reputation problem in the state. We need a reputation for openness and transparency. And so by allowing people to see what goes on and be able to see how we conduct our business and that we conduct it in a fair and honest and equitable manner, then that will show that openness and transparency. And then the third point.
You want to be governor of Texas?
The third point is, especially for those of us with bad memories, as I've just demonstrated, is to be able to go back and see what happened instead of trying to remember. This is coming up in the last 2.5 years of SCC over and over again, where people are trying to remember what happened at a prior meeting, and no one's quite sure. And there's no way except in minutes, which have been sparse in the past. So just to be able to keep track of history and what's gone on in the party, we need to be able to have these voice recordings that we all have, not just the chairman and the party office. Thank you.
And I'll expand on my opposition. Recording.
Let Ron speak first.
Call for the previous question.
You called for the previous question. All in favor of the motion as...
Who did the motion?
Rodney.
And who seconded?
She called for the question. Rick Davidge seconded the call for question. All in favor of having...
Roll call vote.
There's only one motion on the floor, which is his motion.
Restate the motion, please.
The motion is, do we have a second set of voice recordings made because the secretary is already making an audio record? I want to clarify that. All in favor of calling the question indicate by saying aye.
Roll call vote.
Those opposed? Thank you. We will have the question. All in favor of having a second set of recordings made of our meetings indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I would move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir.
Please, Frank.
Is there a second?
Red static.
Second. Hedger Lytle, District 20.
This will continue streaming until the police are down or so like you guys.
All in favor of adopting the agenda, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Pastor Clary, invocation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mike's going out. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you all coming. Welcome to our side of town and our part of the world and my part of the world. And we hope you have a good day here. You are our guest here. And we do have some things that we ask for our guests to do. And number one, that is to watch your conversation. This is a church, and you're in a church. And so we ask that you be careful with your language if you don't mind. Our cheerleaders
I'm still exercising my legal right.
you the breakfast items that you have. We'll be making lunch. Thanks them for doing that, and we're going to have that about 11:30, Randy said. So they'll be putting that together. So they're doing this as a fundraiser. If you'd like to contribute extra, I know you pay for lunch, so you're not obligated to pay anymore. But if you'd like to contribute to their efforts and the fundraiser that they're doing, they would appreciate that. Let me give you a little orientation. You're in what we're called the cafeteria. We use this during the school days for our cafeteria to serve our children in our students here. And on the weekends, this is my passion. This is the marriage closers class, and my wife and I teach this class. We have about 100 couples here in this class. We enjoy that. And that ministry, and that's our passion. Like many of you, you have a passion that you do, and that the Republican Party is just a part-time issue for you. And so we want to thank you for being here, and we want to wish you a Merry Christmas. This is a joyous time of year, and as you know, Christmas is a time for giving and giving to others. And I want to go to the Divine Minutes and read you one scripture, if you will. And give you one scripture to just kind of reflect upon today, and then we'll go to prayer. I do like to tell you before we get into that, down this hallway there's two bathrooms over there, a men's and a women's. Down this hallway there's a men's and women's bathroom. If you need that, there's water fountains out in the hall.
The other thing is this then takes it to the president and it's going to go if they wish to continue pushing against me.
So that's a choice of kind of being smarter.
One scripture comes from Deuteronomy chapter 15. Here's the scripture. And this deals with Christmas. And I want you to reflect upon this. For the poor will never cease from the land. Therefore I command you, saying, you shall open your hand wide to your brother, to your poor and your needy in your land. And that's something that we should all remember during this Christmas season. There's people who are less fortunate than we are, and we need to find ways to help them out. Whether it's with the Salvation Army or adopting a family or finding someone that maybe we could buy their meal for them or just assisting others who are less fortunate than we are. A single mom struggling with kids or something like that. Christmas is forgiving. And that's the issue I'd like to pass on to you. So if you don't mind, let's stand and have a word of prayer to begin with invoking God's blessing upon our time. Father, it's been a taxing morning so far, and we need your wisdom, we need your mercy and your kindness in our hearts today. We thank you for everyone who has traveled far to get here.
According to their Bible.
Lord, that everyone has had a good night's
You're doing a
rest.
blessing.
And I know in a body like this that there's many who have trials and tribulations in their lives, and we pray for everyone in this body today, every family that's represented, every relative that's representative. Lord, maybe they're going through cancer, maybe they're going through some health problems, maybe they're going through some financial problems, whatever the difficult problems that they are, Lord, we just pray that you would be with them. Bless our time today. Thank you for our chairman and, Lord, his love for the Republican Party and all of the things that he does to make this Republican Party successful. We pray, Lord, that you would guide and direct us today and give us clarity of thought and clearness of mind as we proceed with our meeting today. In your name we pray and ask these things. Amen.
I spent 40 years in the military defending these people's rights to do what they are trying, well, sort of getting, well, each president trying to pick up the best strike. But the thing is, you know what, I'm defending.
Dennis, and the thing is, the next convention, there are enough folks, they can make the committee.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've room for my defend, and so I know people are going to look down upon that, but some things are just worse than towards some people. They can. You're not abiding by the rules. They have to abide by the rule right in first charging. They really wish it.
It will be a recess
They got
for 5
to hear
minutes.
his rule. I mean, they got to hear his thing, and they got to do something to the party. I'll be more than
Where are you at?
Even though they're trying to shut down. I'm not sure what you're
close. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell you right. You're absolutely right in what you're saying. Calling it as private as that. You have the right to exclude people. So you're close. So
When do you
more so what I'm talking about this one as it relates to you that's all right. Almost irrelevant to me. Pretty much irrelevant. When we have an individual who is at a private place, this is not a public place, this is a private place, that has to leave at this point. What I understand, that's why I'm trying to figure out. Walking a line, I'm not going to tell you it's clear cut, but I'm trying to look for a little bit of cooperation on your part too. Short of creating a situation where something that's illegal. See what I'm saying? You've already pushed her. Something dictating influence on the matters. It sounds like there is a protection that's available for you to share with your constituents.
I remember when that was here. I just trying to figure out. You saw that? I don't know very much.
They are very
What I'm trying to
I want everybody to
split hairs here. That's what I'm saying. What's the point of you want to be there, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, you've already heard several
That's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is that says you have a person with apparent authority who has asked you to leave. And so
yeah, but the thing is, all voting members are first.
I'm not talking about the meeting. I'm talking about the meeting in this location. That's what I'm talking about. If you're looking at the meeting, so that's what I'm trying to figure.
Well, I mean, yeah, people on the building don't like it. I would park themselves have space to build and have people
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, let's come back to order. We have a number of people who are with us today, who are guests, who have not paid. I believe two of them that have been put out to me are two chaps in the back of the room. One is David Eastman, the other is Joe Miller. They have not paid. Go see the front desk. Thank you. Anybody else who is in that category, go see the front desk. Number two. I have to. I will call on
I know.
the chairman from District 19. Where is he? Make a motion.
District 19, I would move that anybody that's not in compliance with the last motion we passed with regards to recording be expelled from the
Is there a second? Second, Alex DeMark, District 21. We have
We had 70 people that were counted present and counted Corey, verified proxy on the
43. We have 143 people in here plus Thank you. All in favor of the motion to expel individuals not in compliance with the rule passed in Fairbanks, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
I hear you.
They are expelled. Thank you.
This doesn't mean you get to trump all these people.
Okay. At this time, I would like for you to consider the minutes from the April 26th meeting of the Central Committee. They were distributed in Fairbanks. They've been redistributed this morning. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
I made the motion. I moved to approve the minutes and all the minutes from the secretary sent via email from the SCC.
That is absolutely out of order. This body has no right to report the SEC necessary.
I only said SCC.
I want a motion to divide that question after, if there's a second. Second, thank you. Glenn, will you?
Who seconded?
Jenny Jocelyn? Glenn, would you move to split the question, separate the minutes?
Let's split that question.
Is there a second? Thank you. Larry Mills, District 8. Okay. We're back to working the first set of minutes, which we have before you. Roy, I believe, had a question.
Point of order. Roy had a question.
Glenn, cover that and see what it is.
While you guys are out here, jaw jacking, we'll take a vote.
Yes. We did the same thing at Fairbanks. Now, the motion was passed, I think it was absolutely. Now, I want to amend the motion. I tried to speak and I wasn't allowed to, so I want to amend the motion that if he does not leave, that we adjourn and we call the police and have a great moment.
Mr. Burkhardt, that is out of order in the police are here. Thank you. If there are no additions to the 26 minutes, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. The minutes from immediately after the Central Committee, the post-Central Committee minutes are April the 28th. Can I have a motion to post-committee? Yes, I'm sorry. We have, that is on the floor as a divided motion. It has been seconded. I note that there are 3 items that are need to be here. On page 4, there's Sandy Doyle, District 4. On page 3,
I'm not going to touch
Cynthia
it.
is the vice chair, and was there as a result of the vice chair, doesn't have their property. And based on all the considerations that we've had this morning, I want the bottom line on page 2 stricken, because the Snake Party does not authorize videotape, video recordings, nor will our minutes direct someone to go sign where they are. Thank you. Are there any additional corrections to these minutes?
Randy, on page 4, and I talked to Dallas about this, Sandy was incorrect in District 28, corrected that, but it's what noticed in the record.
At this time, at the Central Committee meeting in April?
Yeah, he was noted as district on page 4. Andy seconded, looks like two motions. And he was listed as District 28. I talked to Dallas and did the correction, but I just
okay, I see. That's 24. Okay. Anything else to add, repair, correct? All in favor of the minutes as marked up, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. And now the third set of minutes from the September 22nd session are on the floor based on the original motion. I have 3 proofreading items. On page 3, first of all, Austin McDaniel is the new bonus voter. He was getting elected. Number 2, the proxy carrier for Steve Straight was Brian Hope, H-O-B. And then Liz Vasquez is from District 20. Any other additions or corrections to these? Additions or corrections? Hearing none. All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. Minutes are approved. Mr. Clary, Treasurer's Report.
Yeah.
The chairman sent out the treasurer's report, and then you should have gotten it. I want to tell you that House District 6, they came in this morning and paid their $42.79. This is negative there. They brought the check in this morning. You can see the balance of what we have, $67,499. And then on the, I just want to say to this body that we owe a debt of gratitude to our chairman for all the efforts that he put together for this last campaign to take the House and the Senate in coordination with the Senate Leadership Fund and the House Majority Fund. And he did a great job in raising money with those groups and other groups, and then targeting the correct and the right
Can you do your personal assurance that
campaigns, and there is a sheet showing you all of that.
There's no
or should have been, you should have downloaded it and looked at that. But all of that information is sent out, and if there's any questions, Chairman and I would field those questions at this time. But I want to thank you for all the effort you did. I think this body needs a round of applause also, sir.
Can you move your computer from the board and just make me feel better?
I just want to ask, you have the numbers on what we made out of the 2012 state convention, and maybe even have some perspective on what we made in 010 and 011.
I don't have the 010 and 08, but Randy, what was the balances that we raised out?
Well, yeah, I'm going to be sitting up there. Just to let you know, also,
state
you're
convention.
part of being recorded on CC.
We didn't do too well.
So we're technically still being recorded. So just keep that in mind. Situational awareness.
If somebody throws a pump, it's going to be on social.
Well, yeah.
Excellent spreadsheet, which is
Even this can still be pulled at some point by someone.
$30,000 when we had all the bills paid, and it was always kind of humorous as one more bill shows up after you're positive you're done. So I'm not going to quote a number because I don't remember where we wound up. We were above 30, then we were just below 30, and we got a few minor credits, and I don't know quite where it finally bounced down to.
Well, all the expenses, and we didn't do it right together on that. And Bruce, being the chair, he basically runs that issue, and so I'll let him do that.